Hello, welcome to the first episode of the Lunker LCS Podcast, where we'll be discussing the LCS and LCS Fantasy League and hopefully giving you some good insight and some entertainment about the LCS and our fantasy league going on, your fantasy leagues, hopefully. Maybe you'll get some insight on how, some strategies for fantasy LCS and hopefully learn a lot. So my name is Ahren. I'm one of your co-hosts with my other two co-hosts, Brandon.
What's up?
And Eddy.
Good morning, everybody.
All right.
I'm gonna bank on people watching this in the morning. So when they hear that, it's like, holy shit! I read the
Whoa.
lines.
Perfect. All right. Now this is our first episode and first time ever doing anything like this, so obviously it'll be a little bit rocky to start, but hopefully, yeah, exactly. Hopefully, when you look out back towards, at the end of the season, look back on the first one, hopefully we can see that we've, made this a lot smoother, a lot more, just an overall flow between the three of us and our topics. So,
Or not.
or maybe we'll still suck.
Yeah, maybe
we'll
just
see.
suck.
The quality will always suck, but the content we can guarantee will be good.
Exactly. All right.
Well,
That is beautiful.
All right.
Day one team. Okay.
Day
this is
one.
the first topic.
All right.
then.
We wanted to start a couple weeks before the start of the LCS season. As you surely know, it starts on the January 20th. We want to start 2 weeks before. This will be the week before. Episode 2 should be going a lot more fantasy stuff. This one is going to mostly or almost entirely just be us talking about our thoughts going into the season, about teams and players and what we think is going to happen, and making some predictions. First, we wanted to each go over our PR, our power rankings for each team going into the season. Eddy, what'd you have?
All right. If I can start from top, actually, I'll start from bottom to top. Now that we officially have 8 teams, at number 8, Dignitas, 7, Immortals, 6 is Shopify Rebellion, our newest team, 5, 100 Thieves, 4, FlyQuest, 3, Team Liquid. At second is NRG, and first, obviously, Cloud9.
Brandon, what'd you got?
Well, on my list, going from bottom to top as well, we got Immortals 8th and Dignitas on the 7th. Shopify Rebellion for 6th. 100 Thieves 5th. FlyQuest 4th. My team, Team Liquid, 3rd. Second place, NRG. And then Cloud9 first.
All right.
Oh, it's
And then
actually
for
the same
me-
thing, top to bottom.
Yeah. Now, all of our lists are definitely pretty similar, but for me, I got Dignitas 8, Immortal 7, Shopify Rebellion 6, 100 Thieves 5, Team Liquid 4, FlyQuest 3, NRG 2, Cloud9 1. So we all have the same 5, 6. We have a mix of the same 7, 8. And then we have a very similar top 4, but I think we're just going to go over the first team we have that we all collectively agreed is number 1 going to the split, Cloud9.
This team, I honestly speaking, just all the names on paper, I don't know how you can't put this team in at least top 2. Like,
Absolutely.
we finally got rid of MNS. God is good. Threw in Jojo Pune, beautiful North American talent, and then we brought in Vulcan. Like, all these names on
More
paper,
NA
Fudge,
time.
Blabber, Jojo Pune, Berserker, Vulcan. Like, when you see these names together, you already know scrims are gonna go terrible. But the season, amazing.
I mean, I think no one can deny that, especially for your mid-jungle ADC duo, that they have the best. And if someone doesn't say they're the best, then minimum they have them at second best for each of those roles. And then,
Yeah.
You got top-tier talent across every single position for that team.
Like,
Correct.
Absolutely. Like, I mean,
I think, and on top of that, I think with the 2 they picked up with JoJo and Vulcan, I don't think there's 2 better players that they could have gotten. Because obviously you had JoJo, who's the MVP last split. He's young. He's looking even better than he did in his rookie year. He had a down spring last year, but summer, that was prime JoJo Pian right there. And then to pair him with a new team, but to bring in Vulcan, a player that he had already won the LCS with, I think, you got a lot of I mean, JoJo applies a lot of mid pressure, so to be able to have synergy with one of the people roaming there, your support, I think there's even Huhi. Someone could say, "Oh, I think Huhi's a better support player overall," or Core JJ. I think for Cloud9, Vulcan was the best option overall. Vulcan knows the organization. He knows some of the players. He's played with Blabber, and he also knows JoJo from his EG days. So
he's also no stranger to having Korean teammates. So I have faith in him.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's going to be a dangerous bot duo.
Yeah.
Leading on to everyone's consensus number 2, all three of us had NRG to talk a little bit about them. They managed to keep all four of their top with just replacing and I think upgrading their support. Ignar didn't have the best summer split going into it, neither did Dokla, but in playoffs and especially in that championship game, he actually did look very strong. So I wouldn't have mind seeing them keep all 5 just because we knew they all worked together. But obviously, FBI and Huhi can play really well together, and Huhi coming off one of his best splits ever to be able to join a top tier team with, I think, some really strong players. I think Contracts Palafox is in the conversation for, top mid jungle duo.
I really enjoyed watching Huhi just like work with Golden Guardians. Like that man, so nice. that watching him especially during MSI, like this man put in work during MSI. He put in work during like the summer season. We won't talk about the Worlds qualifier. I'll pretend I didn't exist. But everything before then was just it felt very creative. It felt very confident, regardless of the results of games. And I think confidence is just what you need in a team like NRG. Because all of them obviously have talent.
Oh yeah.
So now that
that G2,
they have the confidence of like a title that they've already won. So this team being in the top 2, I wouldn't even be mad if people try to put them above C9 because obviously they won the split before. These guys obviously made it the farthest at Worlds 2023. Putting them at first, if anyone did that, I wouldn't even be mad.
Yeah. No. I think honestly. Palafox, I mean, I think he's a hungry guy. He wants to be better than everyone, not just in the LCS, not just better than JoJo, better than, any mid laner out there. And I think he's going to see a lot of the PRs people put out. And I think a lot of people are going to put Cloud9 at number 1. And he's going to say, we just won. We just made top 8. And I know he knows this Cloud9 team is a different team, but I feel like he's going to see some, even if they put him second, I think he's going to see that is a little bit disrespect because he knows his team's good. He knows his team also got upgraded with Huhi bringing him in. I think he's going to get even better. I think he could have a really good split. Contracts has just been awesome recently.
He was amazing.
And he was smurfing Worlds too.
I theorized the reason like Contracts was good last year was because One Piece was popping off. Favorite anime of all time. So One Piece was popping off, he was popping off.
He must be a little sad that 100 Thieves got the collaboration. Was it Cloud9?
Oh, yeah, no, Cloud9 had the One Piece collaboration, 100%.
The gear looks so like 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm not a One Piece guy, so I couldn't swear to it.
We're not apparel people, so it's okay. It's okay. That I'll leave to the teams to just do their thing.
I'm thinking that 100 Thieves, because 100 Thieves got Dragon Ball. Never mind.
Oh yeah, but overall, NRG looking really strong. Eddy, you and Brandon disagreed with me on number 3, though. You both had Team Liquid. Brandon, anything about that? That's your team. What do you think about this Team Liquid team coming in?
I mean, obviously, I have my own bias, but bringing in Impact, reuniting Impact back to the Team Liquid squad, I think is a wonderful pickup, and we're not really sure what the topside meta is going to be. But he's always going to be a solid rock no matter like what the situation is all the time over the years. Yeah, he's the weak side GOAT. You keep Core JJ as well, so you have the veterancy for Core and Impact. You're keeping Yon and APA though. Yon didn't have a shaky world, and APA did do solid.
He had flashes of games, but sometimes he would flounder.
But yeah, I think we're going to get to see more bright spots at both of their gameplays.
And obviously, APA, couldn't understand any of his teammates last split, so this might be him being
Yeah,
able to
Impact
communicate.
Impact knows English and Korean. So
Umpty knows English.
we're
Jan,
good.
obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it'll
they're
be an
bringing
English
in Umpty as
this year.
well.
Yeah.
I nullify not all criticism, but like nullify all criticism from APA for last year because that man just joined the team out of nowhere. His whole team spoke a completely different language, and he only ever clicked in whenever they spoke English. He's like, oh, now I have to listen. And they
Yep.
sometimes
Him
even just
just-
locked in champions
Yeah.
for him without him even knowing.
Yeah.
Like if you ever watch any of the games they played, like even LCS and Worlds, ask him how often his mouth is open. Bro's just standing there looking at his team, bro.
Yeah, he's playing solo queue, and he was
Yo. So yeah, now that he has a team that essentially knows English, I feel like this man will put in work. I have hope.
Oh, he's a grinder too. I mean,
It's
he
the
is,
reason why I threw Team Liquid S3.
I think he was in Korea over like the holidays too. I don't think he went back to his family at all.
That
he
man
was
that
just
man
doing
is
games.
he's in his training arc, and I'm so happy to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I mean, as well, they're
No,
bringing in Umpty as an import from LCK, which Umpty is definitely, from what I've watched, he does have a very poor record, but from what I've watched, he definitely is a bright spot on most of his rosters. So I'm interested to see how it goes, and as well, you mentioned before that Umpty is actually fluent in English.
Yeah.
So it does.
What
give a
team
big
was
benefit.
Umpty coming from?
He's coming
LCK?
from OK Brian.
Okay, and was that, or was he like challengers or
It was
Academy?
LCK.
He was just okay. Okay, Brian. See, I'm the
OK Brian Bank, yeah.
okay Brian Bank.
I don't know a lot about
the short name is OK
No,
Bro.
yeah. Okay. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then
Yeah, you
Moving
threw
on.
FlyQuest at 3.
Yeah,
I
hey.
want to know the thought process for that.
look, yeah, no, they had a very obviously horrid summer after that really strong spring with Prince.
FlyQuest Summer, baby.
FlyQuest summer,
song,
yeah,
bro.
we're a team like no other. And then I thought, okay, well that's pretty much it for that FlyQuest run. You know, Prince is gonna be gone. They're gonna be broke, out of money. They can't pick up no one. And then they had an insane, in my opinion, off season with all their pickups. I think.
Papa Smithy has deep pockets. Remember that.
Clearly. I mean, I'm a Busio believer. Obviously, I think he has a really high ceiling. Masu was the Challengers League MVP. So I think I'm really interested to see that rookie bot lane cook.
Well, Lucio was also for the previous year, so they're both together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I don't know. And I think I was talking about, JoJo and Vulcan being the two best you could pick up no matter like what. I think for FlyQuest, Blippo was the best pickup you could make no matter what in terms of when you're looking at players, because what he excels at is, helping his bot lane, making sure they get what they want out of their games, because he knows that's where the game is won, in that lane. I mean, if, it doesn't matter if he's, fed as hell as his champion. If he can get Masu like cooking, if he as a rookie, he knows how to communicate really well with that bot lane. I just think he can deal with that rookie plus that first year or second year player bot lane better than anyone else maybe in the world. I think he's just a very smart player overall. It's not like it's just there to communicate. He's obviously a very good player. And then in the jungle, they bring in Inspired. Now, I was a JoJo Inspired fan, so I was very sad to see them split up. I was hoping they'd, be brought back this year. Obviously, I can't be upset that he, went to Cloud9 because I think they're going to do awesome. But to see Inspired on FlyQuest, I'm just glad he's back, at least on a team, even if it was the LEC, bleh. But, I'm happy it's especially the LCS because... man, he was fun to watch last year, even if they didn't have the greatest spring. But I think him with Jensen, I think that'll be a good jungled mid lane. I think him and Blippo, those top three, top jungle mid. You know, they got that European buff to them. They got that communication, that camaraderie already. And, you know, obviously there is big question marks with some of the players. I mean, we know Inspired and Bwipo are going to be consistent, but obviously it's like, how's Boosie going to do without Double Lift? Even though I don't think Double Lift was like the reason they were winning or losing games. I mean, it just has been the only player he's been in the LCS with, and now he's got to be in a bot lane with, instead of arguably, or not arguably, just the most veteran LCS player, he's now in with one of the newest LCS players. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I think Bwipo, obviously, as I said before, will help that a lot.
My only fear with FlyQuest is just Jensen. This man is really great on mages, but the moment he has to pick an AD mid laner, like actual AD mid laner, I'm already shaky. Like if I see this man try and play like Jace, I'm already shaky about it. Tristana, like even I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan at all. Like you like just watching it last split, this man can't do anything that isn't like control mages. So that's the reason why I put them below Team Liquid. It's just Jensen.
I think
you said, I'm really hyped to see Masu Busio, Bwipo, and Inspired, even though they weren't really playing like in any like league. Those two very knowledgeable about the game, especially 100%. Bwipo. This man, from all the videos that Val has sent me, like with Bwipo's insight, like I look at Bwipo and he looks like a really silly and fun guy, but this guy is smart. This guy is knowledgeable. He feels like Impact, but just not Korean.
European Impact.
Pretty much.
Wait, where is he from again? What country?
Belgium.
Belgium. Okay, he's Belgian. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Belgian Impact. But yeah, it's the only reason why I put them a tier below Team Liquid.
What's Inspired's what again? And then are they both? Is he from Denmark or where is he from? I know
Inspired is Polish.
Okay, yeah, Poland, and then Jensen's Denmark, right?
Kurwa.
To get 0 for 3.
Yeah, we need that one censored.
Yeah. You really want to say okay.
All right, our number 5 pick. Yeah, we all put 100 Thieves.
Yeah, no, we all had I think, besides like we flipped Immortals and Dignitas, we just all had that. The same. I think. Did any of us have Shopify 5th, or was it all? Yeah, I think it was all.
All of us put Shopify at 6.
Yeah, it was all 100 Thieves, Shopify, and then Dignitas or Immortals 7 and 8. But I think it doesn't really matter. I'm just curious to see how many teams, not in spring, but in summer, how many teams will make the playoffs. I think they'll probably just move to 6. I don't think there's any reason for every single team to make the playoffs. Just do it how they do spring style in the summer. They have 8.
Yeah, no sense.
But you know, if it is an 8-team playoff, that'll be interesting. I just don't think there's really much of a point because usually those bottom 2, they just don't win. I mean, they're not going to win it anyway. I feel like it's different where, you know, the middle 5, while, you know, NRG doesn't look like they're gonna win it. They always can. I mean, but you know, like Diggy's got no chance ever, or Immortals. And I mean, I'm overall pretty disappointed with the rosters those teams put together, but it's fine. I didn't think they were gonna do anything
not making
special.
the decisions. They might have something cooking.
We'll see.
Yeah, I think with the bottom 2 teams, I think it was just bias that me putting Immortals over Dignitas, because my boy Tactical, aka Edward, the same with Ole, those two. Those are names I've known for a while. I have faith in them. I don't know too much about Castle. I don't know too much about like a lot of the people they have like put on your mask. Like I don't know too much about any of them, but I'm excited to see what they can do. I just there's a lot of question marks.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm so disappointed in Shopify. I think it's some not entirely. Really? I like Zazel. I like the Tomio Boogie. I like Fake God, and obviously I'm very happy Insanity is coming back. And maybe they just didn't have the money for it. Which, if that's the case, okay. But I just really thought it would have been like a super home run roster to fill it with Sven for like multiple reasons. One, I mean. I'm a pretty new LCS watcher. My first ever season watching was just last year's spring, so I've only known Sven as a support player. But I love to see him play ADC. Obviously, he didn't get really picked up anywhere. But at the same time, Sven's a very popular player, and when you're
Mhm.
Shopify Rebellion and you don't have like any fan base, pretty much. I mean, they're kind of slightly absorbing the TSM fan base, maybe, but at the same time, there's not like any hometown heroes on that team from TSM anyway.
Sven might
Yeah.
have been
Yeah.
expensive because like
Sven, yeah,
he
I
said
think
he
I think
wanted to
that
go back to bot lane, and when you've been playing
Yeah.
support for like the later half of your career, and your price is probably in a really high area, like a high budget, no one's really gonna want to try and take a chance on that since all
Yeah.
you've played is support, and you cost a lot of money, and you want to play bot lane. Like
Mhm.
I think
I
it might
just
have
think-
been hard to pick him up.
maybe, but I think if you're Shopify and you have like no fan base, picking up a insanely popular player like Sven can bring the fan base. Obviously, they're bringing in a lot of the DSG players, right?
Yeah.
So that can help a lot. And obviously, Disguised Toast put it together, a popular team that ended up winning the whole thing. They were a fun story. They were a good team in the first place anyway, but it was nice to just see with all that, controversy surrounding ending, teams quitting their, challengers teams. Disguised Toast decided to pick up a team, but together they won the whole thing, and now a lot of them are. Is it all of them or a lot of them? It was because it was Zazel.
Zazel, Tomio, Fake God.
Okay, yeah, Zazel,
So-
Stomio, Fake God. Were there any? But none. That was all. Who was left out that didn't get a spot
It
on any
was
LCS team?
Young, who did actually play last year for the first 4 games for Golden Guardians,
Okay.
while Gory was.
Yeah, I remember him.
And Meech, who's on Andre Thieves.
Okay, yeah. So they all but Young got picked up. Yeah, I just
Mhm.
meant LCS in general. Okay.
As well as their coaching staff. Golden Glue.
Oh yeah. He's
100
now for 100 Thieves, which will be nice. He knows Meech already.
Mhm.
But then and then we also, but that's so that's going on a lot for the teams. But we also all put together who we thought could just be the best 3 players in each of their positions. Just start from the top lane. I think every single one of us had a mix of not every single one of us.
No, I had it,
But you had Fudge, yeah. So
No, I have
we
Impact.
did it.
We all
No, we all had Impact. I'm talking
We all-
about a mix of our top 3, but we got a different top 3. But yeah, we all have Impact and we all have Bwipo.
So
But
yeah,
me and Eddy have Dokla and Brandon has Fudge.
Yes.
So Eddy and I both have Impact number 1. Eddy, you
me?
want to break down?
Impact
Everyone. I thought you had
number
Bwipo.
because he's just
Okay,
solid.
everyone. Okay, all right. Well, Team Liquid fan Impact go. Impact number
Well,
1. Best guy.
same thing as I said before. He's a rock. I mean,
Yeah.
even no matter what the meta's gonna be, he's gonna always be the solid player that any team wants.
Yeah. We definitely, we did a lot breakdown. Okay, so we did a lot of breakdown of Bwipo and Impact, and I think why we
Mhm.
think they could be good. But I think we. So then let's just talk about the remaining 2 that we both had in
You guys
our
go
top
first with
3.
Dokla.
We had with Dokla. I mean, he had a rough spring split, but going into the postseason, he was looking really, really consistent. And then obviously, I mean, especially in that finals with Jax, but going into Worlds, there was a higher level of competition. He had the Ornn rough Ornn game, but other than that, I think, while I don't think he might ever be, in contention for one of the best players like Impact and Bwipo can be, I still think in terms of the LCS, I think he is just overall a strong player. I think he'll be able to get better with everyone else on his team. I think that whole team, I was talking about Palafox, but I think that whole team, including Contracts and Dokla, are all just hungry.
Yeah,
to win more.
I was about to say, I think the reason why I had Dokla over Fudge is because Dokla just looks like he wants it more, not just in the way he looks, but also in the way he plays.
Yeah.
Just watching like the postseason, like this man really wanted it more. Like everything he does, like I think Fudge and Dokla are highly skilled, but in this current age of League of Legends, it just feels like actual teamwork and just drive matter more than
Power
like
friendship,
mechanics,
baby.
considering the fact that a lot of these top laners do just get thrown on to like meat shields. So it doesn't like you're not like you climb to challenge and playing like Riven Aurelia, but then you're stuck playing like Ornn or Sion. So it's just a matter of just wanting to win more. not so much like mechanics. So that's why I gave Dokla an edge.
And
over Fudge.
that and communication. Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, I don't think Fudge is a terrible top three. You had him in your top three over Dokla, Brandon. So
yeah, I think even though Fudge has missed recently in internationals, he still
international
has been...
fraud. Oh my god!
Don't mention it.
He has still been very good domestically, and it's going to be interesting to see how he plays with this team, especially then with Blabber, Jojo, Berserker, like effective carries, and Fudge obviously wants to just play the carry role himself with maybe the Fiora, but I mean, depends where
he's
the
not
meta
going to do
goes.
that. I don't want to see him on those.
With this current game right now, he's just going to be throwing in a meat shield. If he plays Fiora, like he requested it, and he thinks that he just wins with it.
I just think there's no way he ever gets to be the main carry guy on a team with Blabber, Jojopyun, and Berserker. There's no way that happens. Maybe if they like the angle for a draft, but I mean, you got three guys that you know can carry games as opposed to a guy where, I mean, he's just, I think he's just not in the, he's just not the guy you're going to want to carry your games if you have those three people on your team. I mean, you can draft the Blabber comp with like Kindred or something, or Nocturne, or you could draft, Jojo, and he can pick up one of his favorite champions, or that he's can excel on, like his Silas or his Ari or something like that. Or Akali. Hopefully, I hope to see some of his Akali. We didn't really get to see it a lot, but he's had some insane. I mean, he's just he's so good. And then Berserker's Berserker. I mean, he's
We'll get to those roles. Roles when we get there.
But yeah. I just think
everyone's top four is essentially like the same players.
Yeah.
And even though we're only discussing the top three, it's good to see we got the top four. Just it's all consistent. Like nothing is drastically different.
And then for jungle, once again, we had the exact same thing happen to where me and Eddy had shared at least our top three, and then we've differed on the next one. But every single one of us, obviously, all of us put Blabber number one. I mean, show why. I mean, it goes to show why he's probably argument for the NA GOAT, 2-time MVP, and now he's adding the best mid laner to his team. I mean,
Blabber being number one. I feel like anything lower, like I would need like an essay on why you think he doesn't deserve number one. Like times New Roman, double space. You already know the pizzazz. And having Blabber there, solid. I put Contracts at second. I just think it's drive. This dude's probably hungrier for the win than I believe like Inspired. I think he's hungrier than River. Contracts just wants it more. At least in my eyes, he does. But I don't think the gap between junglers is that deep. Only because
there's a lot of good junglers.
Because we go from like what? There's like Contracts, there's Inspired, River, Armao, like Blabber still too, and it's like there are a lot of good people here, but it also does matter with the pairing they have with their mid laner, because it's not like a jungle v jungle showdown, because they're not really seeing each other a lot. So I think it's just a matter of impact that they make onto the map.
And Blabber is one of the best at that.
Yeah.
I mean, to be able to, and it's not just the impact he's being able to make it on the map, right? Because people are like, talks about his power farm, but he power farms and he gets such consistently high farm and these farming advantages while still making like good gank timers and creating advantages in other lanes. I mean, he's getting ahead solo for himself as a jungler, but also able to put his team ahead, in other lanes through making it there, but not. I mean, he's just so efficient with how he plays jungle. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious. Why'd you have Contracts at fourth?
I do think Contracts is still really good. I mean, obviously, all these junglers are insane.
It's over River. I mean, it's River's over Contracts, so I can't complain about that too much because I think River is also really awesome.
You have Inspired at second, and this guy's coming out of McDonald's queue. I need to know.
Yeah, but
I'm curious.
It's Inspired though.
To be fair, he was contract jailed, but
true.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still an amazing player. The only MVP of LEC and LCS.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he is.
Yeah. And won 2 different titles, but yeah, I don't know. You had Inspired third below Contracts, but yeah, I think Inspired. But yeah, I mean, I think past Blabber, you could tell me I think River's the second best. I think Contracts are Inspired, and I wouldn't really put it too far past you with those 3. I think they all can be, the best on the day.
Just look
especially
at
if
who
you're
Inspired-
Contracts.
just
As
look at
long as
who
yeah,
Inspired's paired with mid lane, man.
yeah.
I'm telling you, I just don't have faith. I have faith in Inspired, but he's a tier below only because Jensen's just. I love Jensen. I know him. I've watched this man. I watched this man since he was Incarnation. I know this man too much, man.
In terms of Contracts, I think as long as he's playing against River, Inspired, or Blabber, he's gonna look amazing. Put him against Exu. XU,
NRG's the kings of like beating the teams above them and losing to the teams below them, which doesn't make
and the
sense.
Contracts is especially good at playing to his team. I mean, the thing, it's like he'll gap Blabber and then he'll lose to like Boogie. XU or something.
Yeah,
it's hilarious, but I think that's part of the reason why he did so good at Worlds. I think he really, I don't know. I mean, he just, I don't know if it's that he just gets so much more like pressure, puts like him in just an insane state.
I think it's because he's not
World
comfortable.
Team Smurf.
It's like I said, like when you're facing against an opponent that you already know is like better than you.
Yeah.
It makes you a little more relaxed, which doesn't make sense, but like it makes you more relaxed because you're like, okay, let's try and take what we can from this match, and then all of a sudden you end up with a win screen, and you're like, oh shit, we did it. And then when you're up against a team that is lower tier than you, you're comfortable, which is poison. And then you see a lose screen, and you're like, oh, what the fuck, we lost.
Yeah, and fighting a better team, you're more like,
know
what you're expecting.
Yeah, and you have less. I mean, and part of the thing and what they talked about all the time, and I think what was important to NRG's Worlds run, and NRG's, and I mean, and Contracts as well, their Worlds run and their playoffs run in summer was, I mean, no one really believed in them the whole time, and that they fed off of that, and then it also just put so much pressure off of them. I mean, if you're Faker, or if you're like Owner or any of the T1 guys, I mean, they ended up pulling it off. I mean, yeah, there's a target on your back, and everyone expects you to do it. I mean, that happened to JDG. Every single person. I mean, so many people expected them to just, take that golden road after winning all of it. But in the end, they couldn't. But NRG, it's like, I don't think in any of the games they ever played, except for maybe against Mad Lions, anyone had them winning. That same thing for the summer playoffs. No one had them winning. So that it's like if they lose, I mean, and a lot of people talked about this. Jat talked about it a lot. I mean, if you lose, whatever, but if you win, and then it's insane. And it's the same thing with G2. G2 would beat LCK team, they'd beat an LPL team, and then they lost to the LCS team. But that's because they were supposed to beat the LCS team. So I think they had pressure, and pressure is very important to like who can decide and how you deal with it. And I think Contracts is a player that excels under pressure.
Like going into a match being like, okay, we can't lose against this team. Like that kind of pressure is poison.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's we went off on a whole tangent. We haven't even reached mid lane.
Oh yeah, this is
all right. Number one, we already have.
I think we all have the same now.
Yeah, Jojo,
let me talk about my boy. Yeah, do we? Oh, yeah, we all share. We all share Jojo Palafox. Jojo Pune, I think. I mean, he. I mean, did you see the team that he had last year? Jesus, I mean that team was something. Were there. I love Revenge. Don't get me wrong, and I mean I think Ayla played well, and Unforgiven was consistent. But I mean, I think
something just didn't click.
Something didn't click with that team. I mean, it had flashes and. But they floundered in. I keep using that word. I don't know why. I never say this, but they blew it in playoffs a little bit after having. I mean, they went in. They had an 0-3 week in summer, but then finished 3-0 or something like that. I can't totally remember, but Jojo was carrying that team. I mean, he was smurfing all of his lanes. I mean, he was doing insane in team fights. The fact that he was MVP with that team, not to say that the team was bad, because I think the team was okay, right?
The team was just expected to be better.
Yeah. But I mean, he was just so dominant. And I think now that he's on a team, I mean, he missed internationals twice last year. I think that's going to get him angry. I think he really wants to see that stage again. Last time we saw it was his rookie year where he was able to beat T1. And now he's on a team where they make internationals, both internationals, and they're expected to win again. I mean, I think JoJo is just, I mean, yeah, I think he's just going to look like the best mid laner again, because I think he is the best mid laner and just one of, now this is full me bias, but I think, I mean, you know, LCK teams wanted to pick him up, and now, you know, we don't have to get into which LCK team wants to pick him up, but the Korea knows he's good, and I think, yeah, I think he'll just do just as good, and especially with Blabber now instead of Armeo, and what was the other guy's name?
Yeah, you pretty much listed out all the reasons why I have Jojo Pune there. Me and Brandon share the same top three, respectively. Yeah. Jojo Pune at first, Palafox, then APA. I wanted to put APA above Palafox, but I don't think legally I can do that because I love watching APA play. This man, I'm not angry watching him play, even though he's a Ziggs player. I'm not angry watching him play. Like he's doing his thing. He's having fun. He's learning, and this dude is just like I think we mentioned it before. He's been in Korea for like a majority of like the later half of 2023. Like after the summer,
just playing games.
Yeah, after the summer playoffs, like he just went straight to Korea. He was in Korea obviously for Worlds. After his Worlds run ended, he was still there. Like he was just playing, practicing, learning. I have so much faith in him. Palafox, I think, is just better than APA. Considering the accolades, but that's not APA's fault. I think that 2 and 3 spot could obviously be flipped depending on how this season goes. But yeah, that's my top 3.
Okay. Looking at it now, apparently I had an Insanity 3, but I don't know if I would put him above APA 2. So I don't know if I meant to put APA and flipped it, but yeah, White Boy Winter. In the end, I think I would put APA 3 as well. I think we're all in agreement in those top 3.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think APA is just, I mean, but I think one important thing to point out is that, and obviously these are opinions and we don't know what it'll be at the end, but going into it, because I think a lot of people will have a similar top 3, maybe they'll have Jensen, but those top 3 of JoJo, Palafox, APA, all of them North American players. I mean, entirely. And I think
it's beautiful.
You know, it's so good. It's so nice to see, especially in the mid lane.
All right.
Especially, yeah.
It's time to break down the bot lane. Unless Val, you have any closing thoughts on mid lane?
Yeah. Not really, but I do hope he has expanded champions before. He even played Champions Queue while in Korea, so he was playing that on high pink too.
Yeah.
He's a grinder.
He's such a grinder, dude. Him and Palafox are both crazy grinders. But I think his champion pool will definitely, there's no way it doesn't get bigger. And if, I know he's been playing a lot of Hui, and if Hui is like a good pro play champion, I don't know enough about the champion, I can't say, and I don't know what pro play will be looking at, especially going into next season, where, you know, items and all that. So we'll have to see what the meta is like. Hopefully, you know, he flips a coin properly and picked champions that will be meta. Please tell me he learned at least Ahri or like Azir or something at this point.
He probably
but I think has. if he has a strong champion pool now, yeah, I think he can be very good.
All right.
Especially with a team he can communicate.
Time to break down the bot lane. Each of us had Berserker at number 1. That's literally that he's literally walking.
He's the only answer. Yeah,
he is walking insurance, man. Because if C9's doing bad, you look at Berserker, and if he's even in farm, all right, C9 still has a chance.
I think part of the thing with the bot lane is, and I think FBI is a very good player, but looking at the rest of them, there's not like a ton of good ADCs, I think, in the LCS right now. And on top of that, Berserker is just one of the best ADCs in the world, so it's really rough. I mean, I think
there aren't, but I have high hopes for me.
Yeah, when I was making my list, I had a hard time with the ADCs because at some point it was like,
it's not as like bountiful as like jungle or like mid, but like I have high hopes for Meech. I have high hopes for FBI. Yon, obviously, I want to see improve.
Masu, I hope does really well. Yeah, Yon, I really hope he can improve.
Like the only people I don't expect anything from are like what I don't know who B-Boy is. I don't know too much about him. Wild Turtle, he's not going to be doing nothing.
No.
I have no faith in that man. I love him. No faith though. Tactical, my goat, best AD carry in the world, as Rain would say. But I don't expect anything of him. Tomo, I don't expect anything of. So yeah, Aaron, you are correct to say that. But like I said,
Yeah.
Berserker,
I think
FBI is my top 3. That's locked in.
I think it's funny enough overall, one of the weakest roles in general, but yet has one of the, and people would have him probably as the best player in the LCS. Most people would have Berserker in general, and he's in one of the. Now, are those correlated? Probably not, but maybe. I don't know. If just
we'll
like
do
he's playing
research
against
on
it. Yeah. It will, and we'll definitely see. Yeah, we're not doing research on it. But,
Yeah.
let's not lie to the viewers here. We're not researching anything about if there's
man,
correlation.
everything's off the
between
dome.
The weak
Empirical
people.
data.
Yeah. Maybe in some other statistics, but not if the worst ADCs in the LCS make him look even better.
I'm about to come up with a stat sheet and throw it on this table. It's just gonna say stat sheet, just so everyone knows I did research.
And then, Brandon, your role support.
Yes.
What do we have? I think did we all have different? I think we all actually did have different number ones for this.
Oh,
which is
finally
nice.
some spice.
Brandon, break down your number one. List it.
Okay.
I think. Wait, real quick. Sorry. Okay, we all had the same number one, or sorry, different number ones, but we all had the same top 3. So we'll each just list our number one.
All right. Well,
yeah.
me first.
Yeah,
I
you
roll
first.
apparently.
It is your role.
I
You're
mean,
the support
it
player.
is my
It's my secondary role.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, Gory JJ, I mean, is the veteran player, of course.
Yeah.
He's been at the top of his game for
forever.
so long, and he's had so much influence.
On just the role in general.
Yeah, on the role in general for LCS players, it's. I mean, I don't see how. Like, even if he has like a rocky split, which I mean has happened, which was spring, he still is.
Yeah, he's still
He's still looking good. I mean, he's still shining, and I think he's just still the best support in LCS.
Yeah. For my top one, obviously Vulcan. He is no stranger to the C9 systems. He's paired with Berserker. Vulcan is like. He's like Mickey X squared. There's something about Vulcan that just gives me the energy of like Mickey X, but like
squared?
Yeah, but like no, not even squared. It's the squared root of like Mickey X, and it's like Vulcan the way he plays. He's just a lesser version of Mickey X. I had something written down. I had it written down wrong, but like he's just a lesser version of Mickey X. So it's like I love watching him play. This man can practically play whatever. And considering the fact he's paired with an ADC that is really good at the game and can, for the most part, just do whatever, Vulcan has seen many victories with C9. He looks very motivated to play. He's with, like I think we're beating a dead horse here, but like the team looks so solid. I had no choice but to throw this man in number one.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I had him slotted in as my number 2, so I think he's also very good, core 3. But yeah, and I had Huhi number 1. I think, I mean, he came off, I had talked about this earlier, but Huhi coming off of his best split was great. And just best season in general. I mean, he played awesome the whole year. I think that Golden Guardians team was good. I was really sad to see them go. I liked them a lot. I liked 6A. I liked...
Bro, we didn't even get any merchandise before the team
Gory. No, yeah, man. We should've. But... I think, I mean, yeah, he's going from his best season to then joining the reigning champions on a team that is definitely very good. Yeah, and I had said this before, reuniting with his bot laner, but I think just the way he approaches the game with how he can communicate, I think he always has usually a good idea of what's going on in the game, is able to communicate it to his teammates. I mean, you see him in comms when they bring that, or when they'll pull those up during games or post comms that Golden Guardians would post. He's always communicating with his team. I think it's, you know, he's an in-game coach, and, you know, he's an in-game coach macro-wise, but obviously he also just plays the champions he plays really well. I think he's a pretty versatile support player.
Mm-hmm.
As the support players that come off of mid lane tend to be, not necessarily the ones that come from ADC, but the mid laners, you got
The shade at Sven. Huh?
I think the
Sven
important part
shade.
I want to say about who he seems like you said, he's a really very good at shot calling. But I think what I really like is that he can also just be like a no button. Like,
Yeah.
oh, can this play happen? No, because sometimes
No.
not making a play can save.
No,
you
yeah,
a
he's
game.
a level-headed player.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah.
I think that is actually I do want to bring up that I think that might be a weak spot in C9 that they don't really
They
have.
don't have
a
a no button, bro.
They don't have
It might be a
no
strength
button at
or
all.
weakness.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at the
we'll have to see. I mean,
because Berserker
I think
barely talks already, and he obviously as an AD carry, you're not really shot calling at
Yeah.
all. Like that's not your
Yeah.
job. Blabber's already a walk and go button. Jojopian doesn't know when to say no. Fudge is just he just does his own thing, and then Vulcan is just like, oh, let's do this. Let's do this.
I think, yeah, and I know we're talking about supports, but I got to talk about just real quick whether you're talking about the Cloud9 with the go button. I think that did actually, as much as it was kind of sad to see him lose Inspired and all the JoJo, that is, lose Inspired and all his old teammates, I think it did a lot for him because he, I still think he's obviously a very aggressive player, but I think for him being able to have to lead a team for a split and then joining Cloud9, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I don't think he'll do too much shot calling, I think that anymore, but I think the experience in himself will just kind of get him in the mindset of his shot callers, and he'll be able to make calls when he thinks he needs to. But I think, that'll be that is probably a weakness to Cloud9. I hadn't thought about that until you pointed it out. But yeah, they got.
Wow.
Oh man, that is an aggressive team.
It's okay
Aaron
though.
taking any chance he can.
Any chance I get to talk about JoJopian.
Yeah,
He's
it's okay
so good though.
because we're gonna hit the go button on our way to early predictions. Here comes the fun part.
Yeah.
All right. We said, it's 2 weeks before the season even starts and months before it even gets to end. Or not even the season, the split gets to end.
Split, yeah.
I've had my MVP.
Yeah. Spring MVP.
Yeah, spring MVP, Berserker. I don't have to say anything. He already has a whole repertoire put together. If you know, you know. He's walking insurance. As an ADC, this man's mechanics, he has the spatial awareness in team fights. This man's always keeping up with farm, whether he's weak sided or strong sided. He knows his game plan from the jump. He's literally the ADC I wish I could be. I don't know how he does it. That was a walking CPU.
He's so good.
He's actually a walking CPU. I don't know how. And whenever you hear him talk, bro, his motivation, money. He just wants to see the gold number go up.
I think that's that whole team is so fun to just listen to, and they're great. All
right, Aaron, I can only guess what your MVP is.
I
have no clue.
Yeah, I did have JoJopian as my spring split, but honestly, spring split MVP. But honestly, I mean, with that team, it wouldn't shock me if it was Blabber, JoJo, or Berserker. It kind of, if they do end up being as good as everyone says, it's probably a moot point between all three of them, unless one really stands out. I think, that's just all three of them. Because we had also made a list of just best 8 players, and all three of us had JoJo, Berserker, and Blabber top 3. So, I mean, that Cloud9 team in general is insane. So I think MVP is going to be someone from Cloud9. I'll lock in JoJo, no bias, of course.
I think Val has a completely different pick away from the C9 squad.
Away from the C9 squad.
Yeah.
I am alone on my Team Liquid.
In your Honda Civic.
My Honda Civic. I was gonna say high horse, but that's a little. I mean, it's a pun, but it doesn't really work here. But Core JJ is my pick for the MVP. And I mentioned it before. I think he's gonna go for his third. He got it before on 2019 spring and 2020 summer, but we'll see how the meta goes. Obviously, even the Enchanter is gonna be a way bigger struggle to get MVP on support, but they also say it might be arranged. I think Core JJ can more show a lot of the mechanical prowess on that. And even though I know Ahren do some shade at Sven for being role swap. I mean, Core JJ role swap forever ago. So from ADC
The
to
crazy part is earning
Yeah.
MVP as support seems so rough because I think we touched the topic of like being the person to say no. Yeah, no one ever gets hyped hearing someone be like, "No, we can't make this call." Like, "No, let's not do this." Like that never earns you points. It just keeps you from losing like points to earn MVP. Oh.
Mickey and Lahens did it low last split or in summer, right? It was Lahens for LCK.
Yep.
Yep. And then I think
I'm
pretty sure Huhi finished third in voting. For summer, I think it it Huhi or River? Huhi might have been fourth, but it was definitely. And honestly, that could be a takeaway from the Cloud9 players. Is it's like, even if, because JoJo finished third in the split, and he did look like the best player, but I think part of that was because he was on a worse team, so he just had to shine literally every single game. If he wasn't carrying, they weren't winning, and that's just not going to be the case for his new team and for either of those players. If Blabber's having a average game, JoJo and Berserker can pick up the slack. And for any of those players, it just kind of works that way. So maybe it won't be, and obviously. Another part of that was they were all usually drafting around JoJo. So, but with Cloud9, you'll be able to draft around Blabber or JoJo or Berserker. So, honestly, I could definitely see it someone not being Cloud9, even if Cloud9 is the number one team, just because it is most valuable. So, if it's like Contracts or Inspired or Core or any of those players, I wouldn't be shocked. But we'll have to see. At the same time, it didn't work that way last split with Prince, Berserker, and Spring. Now, of course, Berserker did just beat Prince in the end, but a lot of people were talking about, well, it should be Prince because Berserker's just on the way better team, or not way better team, but just better team overall.
I'll never forget Berserker
in terms of the word valuable. Yeah,
he said, "How many times do I have to beat this man to prove that I'm better than him?"
Oh, dude, it was great.
Oh, they gave Berserker the script and it's like, oh, this is gonna bang.
Yeah, I think the more interesting, way too early prediction though is Rookie of the Year over MVP, because there's only one Rookie of the Year and it's over the whole season, and two, there's just so many picks, but you have a lot less rookies. And so we each decided. I think we all had different ones.
Yeah, we all have different ones.
Oh. So if I can start, I did give some love to the new top laner as a top laner myself. I think as long as they can draft around him, I don't know what the top lane meta is going to look like. I think one thing that hurt, Tenacity when he was on 100 Thieves, and now they have Golden Glue instead of Nuke Duck. Not to say Nuke Duck was a bad coach, but obviously Tenacity, and it was a way different meta. Tenacity got stuck on, Scion. How many games? So many games. And, he's just not a Scion player. So he never really got the shine. I know.
Top laners.
But I'm hoping, and I think, and Sniper's a way more hyped up recruit than Tenacity is in general. He's supposed to be the next, he has potential to be the next JoJo or Danny in terms of, raw NA talent that just is great from the start. And I think, they just got to be able to draft picks for him. Now, I'm not saying draft is Riven or Aurelia, but, if they can just get him on, a Jax, any new, just carry. Yeah. So, well, maybe not Rumble. I don't want to see that champion ever. But just get him on. I know. Oh, I know. I'm wishful thinking, but let's see some carries.
It's not happening for top lane. It's gonna be very rare.
No, and then at the same time, because there's still Cassante, and Cassante, he's tank duty, but is he really at the same time?
That champion is not tank duty. I don't care what anyone says.
Exactly. But we'll see, and maybe he will get the chance to pull out Aurelia or Fiora. Definitely not Riven though. We're never seeing his Riven. These guys climb with Riven and then never get to play him one time, which is fair in my opinion. But I'm trying to think, what picks was he pulling out? Because I know he was playing a lot of carries in Challenger. Do you know what kind of picks he was pulling out at all, Brandon?
Not particularly, no.
Okay.
The statistics.
Okay. Well, we'll move on to Eddy's, and then I'll kind of
For
see if I
my
can figure that out.
ROTY, I have Meech. This man, I think I was alerted to his existence like a week or two after Worlds when we were looking at all the players that were getting confirmed. Like, this guy is pretty much just young talent. Like, I like seeing the fact that we're getting more North American players. That's pretty huge. He's on 100 Thieves. The team that he's with, I'm very confident in in him gaining confidence from. Like, you're teamed with Ayla, who's a really big name. You're teamed with River. You're teamed with like Quid. I would be hyped if anything. Like 100 Thieves, this team. I think they're ready to just try and like center themselves around like Meech, try and make them feel comfortable playing, because I think that's the biggest thing for a bot laner is just like, okay, let's try and set him up just so he can play at his best. And if he can play at his best, then we're more than likely going to be seeing success in whatever we try and play. So I have high hopes in him being Rookie of the Year. There also weren't a lot of rookies. I think like 5, 6. Someone remind me. Yeah, because the import rookies. So technically 7 rookies, and I think he was the one that stood out to me.
All right. And mine. Masu. I think Masu will be my very early prediction for Rookie of the Year, and Masu. He's shown excellence in the challengers scene. Yeah, I mean, he got most valuable prospect. He's been shown a lot of unique picks, and even on standard picks, he's looked great on like the Zaya, and even. I mean, there's also a joke about him playing on high ping, but that number just kept going up as well every time they mentioned it, which is, I mean, they called him the Wi-Fi wizard, but I think even like pairing him with Bucio, so they get a lot of unique picks bot lane. They're both most valuable prospects with very unique champ pools, and it's very interesting to see. And as well, Whippo, we talked about before, he knows how to help his bot lane out.
Do you know how
and that's
of a player you have to be to get the title of Wi-Fi wizard and not warrior?
That's true.
Oh my god, dude.
I
I like it. Yeah.
have I'm hoping to see. I mean, honestly, I'm really hyped for the new NA rookies, and just because I'm sure maybe actually no, they're both on Immortals, both the import rookies, so they're not gonna. I'm sorry, import rookies, Castle and Mask, but you got Elo held.
Well, let's not just discuss the rookies. What teams do we have like completely breaking through their predictions or completely like shattering our predictions?
For me, for a player, I mean, we had talked about him, and I had even
not
said
just a
he
player,
was
like player, team, anything.
Player, team. Yeah, well, I mean, I think 100 Thieves has a pretty good opportunity. There are a lot of question marks on the team, though. It's like, is Sniper going to be good? Quid obviously had a really shaky summer, but at the same time now he's with a Korean jungler in River, and then and Meech, is he going to be good? Ayla, we've seen him play pretty consistently good to average, so I think he's going to stay the same way. But if you can get River's obviously an amazing player, if he can bring out a lot from Quid, hopefully we'll see. I think him being able to have a Korean jungler is definitely huge for him. And then Meech and Sniper, if they're able to have good rookie seasons, then that team could be a top 3-4 team. I don't think they'll like win necessarily, but I mean, if they can make it to MSI, or if they can at least make it to that finals weekend, I think that would be a huge testament to what that team's done. I think, or they could go all the way if they're that good. If Sniper's him, if Meech is him, if Quid figures it out, they can pull off an upset.
I'd be happy seeing 100 Thieves actually do well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
a team like that. If I see them anywhere below like 5th, I'm actually gonna cry, because that team, you have enough rookies to work with. You have enough seasoned players to work with. Like, that mix is actually very solid.
Yeah. And 100 Thieves is pretty used to it now. Because they had, Busio double at bot lane
Yeah,
with
Bjergsen mid lane
Tenacity
for a
top
little
lane.
bit.
Yeah, Bjergsen mid lane. Yeah, they had and then they brought back Someday. So, yeah, they got a lot of mix. But, I don't know. I just hope to see them. And then maybe you can't consider him a dark horse. I kind of would. But I do think APA is a dark horse player. I mean, I think if he's been, just when we talked about him being grinded, I think he could be very, very good. We talked about it in top 3, but I'd still consider him a dark horse player overall because I don't think people will be counting him as one of the top players in the LCS. But I think if he comes back and shows that he's improved this much, I think he's he got a lot of shit talked about him by former teammates, even with Summit. So I think he could make a difference, big, huge difference on this team.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I wouldn't consider APA a dark horse, but I do agree. Yeah, like I want to see him just perform and do well. Yeah. The only dark horse I have isn't even just a player; it's a team. Shopify Rebellion, because we watched NRG essentially come into a split and just win, even though it was the old CLG squad. Technically speaking, like on paper, NRG just joined for one split, won it. I want to see the same thing happen with Shopify Rebellion. The only issue, this team is the most ragtag team I've ever fucking seen. Like Zazel, B-Void, Insanity, Boogie, and even then they have subs for jungle and bot. This is the most ragtag group, dog. Like it feels like I just like played Pokemon for a little bit, let my little cousin play, and all of a sudden everything's just been swapped out, and now I have to fight the Pokemon League with like a Bidoof that has a bunch of HM moves, like a Garchomp that knows like nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's such a weird team, but I want to see them succeed. Like watching them succeed would be so funny.
It would.
Yeah, that's my dark horse. I'm gonna be rooting for them. Don't care. I have them at 6. Did I have them at 6? Hold on, let me double check.
Yeah,
yep, I had them at 6. Yep, I don't care. I don't care if they're that low. I want to see them succeed.
All right, well, and then for my personal dark horse player, even though I put Team Liquid high, I think Umti is my dark horse player. Yeah, no pun intended, of course.
Oh yeah, I didn't get what you were talking about the first time. It's the horse. Yeah, because
the horse is the logo.
I didn't get that's white, what the joke
sometimes
was.
Blue. It's never black.
Maybe, but yeah, I think Umti, even though like he did have bad stats and like negative stats in the LCK, I do think he could maybe find his own, especially the LCS, especially with his roster. And I mean, of course, he's fluent, and they gave him the nickname the General way back in his Jin Air days. And I think he can come into his own, especially with this roster, and we'll see how they do.
Yeah, I'm with it. I don't know too much about Umti. He's like the fresh player on TL. Happy to see him try and kick it with the team, because Impact has already been on this team, so he's familiar with Steve and the way he likes to run things. So
positive.
I mean, I've seen. APA seems to like him a lot. I've seen them posting stuff together. I like, yeah.
I'll have to say I've never really seen APA be all chummy with the Summit and Piosik, and seeing them like actually be friends, like seeing APA and Umti just do their thing. Yeah. I'm with it.
And Jan, I mean, APA and Jan went to Korea together early, right, to prep for Worlds, and I think they even, or at least APA stayed late. So, I think that team does hopefully at least, Jan and Core JJ, APA and Jan, and then we'll see how they get along with Umti, and then Impact is just Impact. He's going to be consistent synergy or not, I think. So I think that could be, if that team's got good synergy, they could also do really well. But
you know what I just realized? I realized right now that every single time whenever AP has been on Team Liquid, even in Challengers, he's always had a Korean jungler.
really.
Yeah, he had Murr.
That
in
does not.
Challengers.
It's still the same. Sorry, APA. Maybe one day we'll give you an NA jungler.
I mean, like if this season doesn't
I mean,
work
how
out,
many? What
who
are there?
knows?
There's only 3 NA junglers, though, right? I mean, Blabber, Contracts, and Armeo.
Yeah. Speakers.
Or is
in,
Tomio? What's Tomio?
Oh, yeah, Tomio is Canadian. Yeah.
Canadian. Okay, yeah. But who is he? He's the sub, right?
Yeah, he's a sub.
Yeah, he's the sub. So I mean, I'd love to see Tomio, but it depends if Boogie's doing bad. I think.
Alright.
I mean, Boogie did okay last split. He had
Fortunately, yeah,
flashes.
Speaker isn't playing. I mean, he's the content creator for FlyQuest.
Yeah, content creator for FlyQuest, baby.
The fact
That's
that
the
he's a
truth.
content
Not yeah.
creator
People
now and
yeah.
not
People
actually
say
playing.
it's like people talk about LCS being like retirement homes for players. Content creation. There you go. That's
Yo,
they.
forget
He's
retirement
graduated
homes,
past.
dog.
He's graduated past LCS.
I'm curious to see what name from my generation of this game is gonna retire now. Because last year was Santorin, Double Lift, and even like yeah, Afromu too, dude. Like
Afromu.
And I'm not even talking like going to like coaching. I'm talking like, oh yeah, I'm done with the game. I want to go start a family. Like that's what I mean by retirement. Because Golden Glue, like you said, he's coaching. I know. Where's Spence Garen at? Is he?
I think he's coaching Dig.
What is
Yeah, he was coaching Dig earlier. Yeah, and that's also still okay. But like, I'm waiting for the day. Oh, I'll cry if Jensen's like, oh yeah, I'm done, or Impact is like, oh yeah, I'm done.
Is Stixide doing anything?
I don't know.
Oh, I do actually. I want to talk about one more thing before we, I think, wrap up for the day.
We're only like an hour and 6 minutes in.
Yeah, only. Licorice and Revenge not being in the LCS this year is like
surreal.
A crime.
It
Because,
is a crime.
like, Castle, really?
I mean, okay, well, to be fair, Revenge doesn't want to go back there. Bro.
I know, no, Revenge, like, Licorice even, I mean, there's not...
The problem is like going to Immortals is like signing away like an entire season to just lose. Like I don't think Licorice or Revenge wanted to do that. Revenge definitely not again. And Licorice, he's seen the horrors, so he doesn't want to do all that. So I don't even think it's like they couldn't find a team. It's just what team could they join where they could find success? Because that's not happening on Dig. It's not happening on Immortals. And all the other top
I mean, and there was definitely
teams.
a lot of locked spots, right? I mean, Whippo was a shock. I don't know how many people expected him. But we kind of knew Sniper was going to be coming in. I mean, you don't really want to go to Dig or Immortals anyway. Fake God, we didn't know. But Impact, I feel like a lot of people knew he would at least have some spots somewhere because he's Impact. And then Dokala and Fudge, I think a lot of people were hoping he'd stay. And I was hoping they'd stay too. Or maybe not. Well, I'll be honest. I was not hoping Fudge would stay. But at the same time, I don't...
you can be honest. I was on the same boat. I'm still on that boat.
It was not between Fudge staying and like Licorice or Revenge joining. It was more like, Thanatos joining. I was Team Thanatos, but I think if Fudge can please just get it together. Please.
Oh no, he has it together. He's comfortable. Have you?
He's too comfortable. He's too comfortable.
He definitely has it together. He just doesn't want to break out.
He's got the rest of his life together.
Yep.
He's better groomed, lost a bunch of weight. I don't care about that. I need you to play better. I don't care if you're feeling better. Play better now. But
real.
I mean, I'm happy that surely that should translate. I mean, if you're doing better mentally, but
with the team that he has now, I hope this motivates him to be better.
Yeah, that and watching interviews at the end of the Worlds, I mean, he was like, it really did look like he was like completely crushed, and he was talking about how he was really personally disappointed in his play, and he literally said, I feel like this always happens when I go internationally, so I feel like he'll want to change that. But
you want to know what might be too? I remember watching League before, like, franchising, before teams got, like, really big name sponsors. Like, the house that you were playing in, like, you had to help maintain. Like, losing meant homelessness. It meant, like, straight up just, like, living on the street, essentially. Now, like, I'm not saying, like, what we have now is bad. I'm grateful that there's player protection.
This is great. Yeah.
That's great. but there's also the drawback of just comfortability.
Yeah, I know LS talked about that with the LCK, or not LCK, but like Korean players now. It's like, you don't. It's not the same kind of culture with like, because there'll be Korean players that'll just like leave home and live in a internet
Like
cafe,
like
and just play all day hoping to get found, and like and so when they finally get that opportunity, there's nothing they're gonna do that's gonna stop them from me like keeping it. So
like I'm
it
grateful.
could be part of
Yeah,
that.
in America,
But
you
yeah,
get a lot
I'm
of
happy
safety
that's
nets.
not the case with America though. At the same time, because that's not exactly the best.
It's just competitive.
It's probably great for competition, but at the same time, you don't want players to just be homeless or good.
Yeah.
I'd rather these players, be happier but at the same time, come on, Fudge. Let's
Pick
do
it up.
good. I have pick it up. Pick it up. Please do not lock in most of the champions you play. Actually, let's get him a new champ pool.
If I watch that man lock in Jax and use God Staff Jax, I'm looking away. I'm looking away.
All right, but I think this ran honestly longer than any of us expected. I think we had a lot to talk about.
An hour. It's an hour 11.
Yeah, well.
Because you rambled on about JoJo Pune.
Only like 3 off-topic JoJo Pune tangents. I think that's a pretty good number.
We'll keep a counter next time.
But I think that was the end of the first ever Lunker LCS podcast episode. This is episode 1. Hopefully, this will not necessarily do well personally, but I had a lot of fun doing the first episode. I think we talked about a lot of good stuff.
Studio apartment in Manhattan.
But exactly, yeah. But hopefully we'll be able to make it to the end of the season. If we continue to enjoy it, we'll see where it takes us.
And potentially have guest stars. Ooh.
Yeah, we're looking to have guest stars. And if you're not interested in the fantasy aspect, and you're seeing this now, I don't know how many people will be seeing this, especially as episode 1, but we will have a lot in the LCS, and hopefully get you into fantasy for the next split. Because it was really fun. That's what got me into the LCS and League in general, was doing fantasy. So it's pretty important to me overall. So if I could get some people into it, I think that'd be pretty cool. But
yeah, I got. If
you are a watcher of this episode and you somehow found us and you made it all the way to the end, and you're not someone we already know,
we appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate that a lot, actually.
You're not someone that we know.
Well, actually, even if you're someone, okay, wait.
No gratitude towards those that we know and love.
To the people we know and love that we know are gonna watch this because they want to support us. We do appreciate it as well, but like extra special appreciation too if you're like someone we don't know at all, because that's kind of crazy that you'd watch an hour and 10 minutes of
us waffle.
Three people waffle about LCS. So
and one of them waffle about JoJo Pune.
And me waffle about JoJo Pune, yes. So thank you. Especially if you got all the way to the end of this. I think if you're new, you probably hit 15 minutes in and you're like, well, but hey.
Background noise.
That's perfect. That's exactly what podcasts are designed to be. Please please turn us on in the background and just like half listen to us. That's totally fine. Just, we appreciate you listening, however you listen. Especially for the first episode. But yeah.
That's big. Have I got any closing remarks?
Yeah, I'll let you close us out.
Hi, Jacob.